Here we go. Wow. Noisy chair. So, a couple years ago, Panasonic made a beast of a camera called the Lumix G9. Whilst there are better cameras for video out there, I would say this is the best pound for pound Micro Four Thirds camera available on the market today. And what I mean by that is there might be better Micro Four Thirds cameras for video or specific types of photography, but the G9 is the all-round king, in my opinion. But there's one thing that they don't tell you when you buy this camera, and it's been bugging me for a year now. I'm going to do a full review of this camera, and it's going to be very positive, but this point has frustrated me beyond belief since I bought this camera. It's the high-speed video, the slow motion. It's just awful. It's just not passable. And I know it's not a video camera, but the video specs on this camera are pretty decent. So why can't we just have full control over the higher frame rates? Whew. We're on peppermint tea today. No sign of manual control. And what's really frustrating is that the new Lumix S1 and S1R have the same issue. So if you buy a £2,000 S1 body, get ready for some poor results on the old slow motion. So to explain what I mean, so when you're filming in 25, 30 or 60 frames per second, you have full control over your shutter speed, your aperture, your ISO, etc, etc. So you can manipulate things like motion blur, and you can balance exposure and depth of field the way you want to. As soon as you go beyond 60 frames per second into what they call high-speed video mode, you lose control over all of that. So the camera will attempt to balance itself by manipulating the shutter speed, ISO and aperture, resulting in some really varying results. Under some lighting conditions it comes out great, other lighting conditions it comes out crap, and then it spits out your footage in 29 frames per second. Maybe I'm missing something, but this is just such a frustrating point on this camera. A camera which I otherwise love, and I'll most likely buy another one, but man, like it's so frustrating. It's bad enough that the slow motion quality already dips, but then to have a full lack of control, it means that I very rarely use the high speed video, a function that I thought I would use all the time, which is really sad. Anyway, I'm being super downer on this camera, and it's a great professional camera which I use all the time. I've used the camera in lots of paid jobs and I've never had a complaint around quality, but it's just a bugbear for me, man. Like, I really think Micro Four Thirds has an exciting future, especially with rumors of new bigger megapixel sensors. You've got the GH5 right there with awesome slow-mo. The G9 is an expensive pro camera. Why take those features away other than to get me to buy a GH5, which I probably will. So I guess that makes sense. Anyway, all in all, I love Panasonic cameras. I think they're absolutely great. I think they're super underrated. They work really well in a professional environment. Panasonics in a professional environment sometimes get flack from freelancers, but I've never had a complaint from a client. So I really recommend Panasonic as a professional Micro Four Thirds solution, especially if you're into stuff like lifestyle photography, social media photography, and that kind of thing. Having a smaller overall footprint in your luggage because you're on Micro Four Thirds lenses and Micro Four Thirds bodies just means that your day is much easier, and the quality and the amount of features that you get inside these Micro Four Thirds cameras in comparison to full frame mirrorless with really limited functions. And I'm hoping that whatever comes after the G9 doesn't have this same issue. But I'm really disheartened by the fact that the S1 has the same limitations on slow motion video. So, rant over. Lumix G9, buy it. You won't be disappointed with this as a camera unless you only want to film in 120.